Hello, my lovelies. So today I'm in a more of a reflective mood. I have experienced a few things over the last few days which have let's just put it this way. The full moon fire and release ceremony that I did and the death of an old ego has and the death of an old self came to fruition. Over the last few months, I've been looking at my business and transitioning, looking at the kind of people that I want to work with, the kind of image that my business has, the impact I'm having on others as I travel around the world, as well as the impact I'm having in the world with the work that I do. Now, I'm very honest. Those of you who haven't figured that out by now, hello, my name is Dawn and I am here to voice my opinion and my knowledge and share with you. And it's not because I want to be nasty, it's not because of any other reason, but I just want people to be happy and be the very best version that they can be. And I know that sometimes for me to wake up to what's really going on and the way I'm presenting myself, I need some home truths from people that don't always deliver in the nicest possible way, but I also deliver things in a very kind way. I am known as somebody who's very honest, but I'm also known as somebody who's very loving, very kind, and I am a very kind person. And I give a lot of love to people. Now, I've just been through a situation which really challenged me. And as somebody who's traveling the world by herself, you have to learn to trust people. But you also need to be very aware and learn to have to spot things in different cultures and the way in which people speak, because sometimes you don't always understand the words. You don't always understand the meaning behind things. Now, I'm not fluent in Portuguese. I can get by. I can have some really wonderful conversations. Can I have a high-level political debate in Portuguese at the moment? No, not yet. But I can have some very, very fun conversations with people, and I'm putting down the recent experience down to miscommunications, because I think that's the kindest way to deal with and process. See, even strong people, we get emotional sometimes. We're not just tough all the time. And I think this is good for some people to see. You see, when you witness something unfolding before you, you have a couple of options. You can either leave or you can help. And I arrived in a place that wasn't expecting me. There was a transition between ownership going on. And instead of the owners turning me away, the new owners turning me away, they gracefully accepted me into their space, even though things were not ready. And we just worked together. And I thought it was a wonderful place. I gave a very honest review, and with lots of plus points, because it is a very beautiful place that I stayed. Those of you who will be following my social media and following my journey will have seen some of the views. Where it is, you'll find out always a couple of months after I've left, or at least a month after I've left. But what happened was, I started to see behavioural patterns that I didn't feel were very healthy, and it was not an environment I wanted to stay in. And for somebody who's fiercely interdependent, not too independent that, I don't allow anybody to help me, but not dependent in the sense that it's unhealthy either. But I started to feel that, I started to feel trapped. I started to feel like a caged animal, like a child so dependent on their parents. And I was like, and these people were lovely people, so it seemed. When I said I really need to leave, I need to be able to pay you. I need to know what price and, what the total is left. And lots of excuses were made, and the friendliness that I'd experienced started to disappear, and a lot of rudeness and almost begging me to stay. And I kept thinking, I'm misunderstanding them. And then those of us who understand red flags and are able to spot them, I was just like, I need to leave. How the hell do I get out of this place? Because it was a really remote place. And a really wonderful experience turned really quite nasty. And not only have I been accused of some really horrible things and really nasty character traits, but I'm being bombarded by messages on social media, and I keep blocking them. My number has been given to other people so that they can also send me the messages. And I've been journaling and getting rid of this and processing all of this. And it was just really interesting, because as I was journaling and I released all of this in the full moon fire, I left the next day and I've cried a lot. You can probably hear a lot of the emotion still there. And a lot of this emotion is a lot of happiness, because what I spotted and what I said no to was me finally honouring parts of myself and acknowledging certain things that I'm not willing to accept from anybody. I'm not willing to accept it from clients. I'm not willing to accept it from people I do and I don't know. And I'm not willing to accept it from myself. And what was just really interesting this morning over breakfast is there's this really lovely family where I'm staying now. They've included me in their birthday celebrations and just given me this beautiful cake, which I can't eat because it's full of gluten. And I don't have sugar. And I'm vegan. And it's just a really interesting space to be in, because what also happened is there's been several different client journeys that have come to an end. And my team is growing, my business is expanding. And it's almost like, the roots when you're pulling that final root out of whatever it is that was in your past or your last energetic space, and you experience something that just reminds you that it's time for you to say goodbye to this. It's time for you to get rid of this element of your life. And the thing is, when you become someone who stands for something, and you stand for people being their very best version of self, or you stand for injustice, or you call things out, you have to be a really tough person. And for someone like me, my friends say I've got a heart of mush, a soul of a hippie, and a backbone of steel. It can be really challenging when your personality gets attacked and you're called things such as cruel and vicious and a coward, and a criminal. And it reminded me of my life in Egypt, when I was such a great teacher to the children that the head teacher and my head of department called a meeting for all the parents to tell them that I had been discovered committing criminal behaviour, and therefore they had to let me go, along with other things. And the parents knew this to be lies, and it's quite interesting because all of this is coming up as I am editing, or going through with my editor. Kelsey, I'm going to kill you. You too, Linda. Probably going to kill Linda with avocados. When you're going through all of this and you're getting present to just how much you've grown. Like this morning, my journaling was just so much gratitude for everything I've achieved in this last year and the people that have come into my life, the clients who I've had the honour to work with, the journey that I have taken, both emotionally as well as physically, mentally, spiritually. And reading my first book that I wrote 10 years ago, and reading the second book that I wrote 7 years ago, and seeing the behaviour exhibited by this family at this posada, and how it mirrored what I experienced in Egypt, it has been quite insightful. But also how a lot of the people who I've walked away from in my life, the moment I've chosen to honour who I am and to stand in my truth and say, actually, I don't accept this behaviour, I don't accept this mindset, I don't accept this for who I am and my life. Really nasty, vicious insults start coming your way. And it's upsetting, not because of what they're saying about me or anybody else, but it's because you see the wounds that you once had yourself, and you see people focusing on things or showing a side of themselves that, as a mother, I just want to hug their inner child. And you just want to, for me, I'd love to sit down with them and just go, well, this is this, and this is why, and this is how this occurs, and here, read this, or I know a really great coach, or maybe you should do some energy healing, or maybe you should grow the fuck up. And as you can see, it's really emotional because I'm happy to see things in myself that I was blind to before. But I'm sad to see it manifesting or present in other people, because I know that unless they heal those parts of themselves, unless they're willing to go on that journey of self-love, and unless they're willing to learn from the lessons that life presents us, then it's going to be really, really, I don't even know, it's going to be damaging. Like, for example, this situation, there was such codependency, not just within the family, but within the local area, and they almost this is a saviour, and it reminded me, why am I doing what I'm doing? Do I feel like I'm some kind of saviour for the planet? And I help all these people and I gift things away for free, and then I charge a lot, according to some people. And I know that I'm not the easiest of people to listen to, because some of the things I know and share are uncomfortable for people. But the thing is, when it's uncomfortable for you to hear it, or it's uncomfortable for you to read it, just be grateful you're not living it. Now, when I was at this posada, there was a man there who mocked and belittled me because all I do is sit on a computer all day writing. And like I said, some of the insults that have come my way: I'm cruel, I'm vicious, I'm a fraud, I'm a coward. And I'm grateful for those, because it showed me that my intuition to leave the place was right. And my feedback has touched a nerve with these people. And it was really valuable feedback. It wasn't nasty. I'm not a nasty person. I am direct. And I would never be unkind to somebody, even though sometimes it may come across that I'm unkind. Oh, bloody mosquitoes. I'm unkind to mosquitoes. I do kill them because I don't like them. And yes, I'm probably waffling. I'm all over the place with this video today. But that's the whole thing about emotions. They're not logical. They're not systematic. They sometimes don't make a lot of sense, but they do. It's energy in motion. And what was really upsetting for me in this whole situation is I saw abusive behaviours, and I saw a lot of manipulation, and it was really interesting to watch it unfold so subtly in front. It wasn't out and out abuse or manipulation. It was that ever so subtle progression. And it's almost like the layering of spices when you're cooking. You add a little bit more each time. Okay, is that right? Does that taste it? A little bit more salt, maybe a little bit more paprika, maybe a little bit more oregano, whatever, a little bit more garlic. You know, and it's just those little subtleties that I was able to spot this time. That 6 months ago, a year ago, I would never have been able to spot them. And I'm so grateful I was able to spot them, but also it upset me because I realised that so many people will miss them. So many people will see these subtleties as really genuine tokens of affection, but they're not, and they so weren't. And there are people involved that that are doing some great work. They really are doing great work. But when you get present to something, it's like when you see something, you can't unsee it. There are just some things you really don't want to see, and you really do want to bleach your eyes, but you know, you've seen it now. It's like when you wake up, you can't not be awake anymore, and I mean that on a high consciousness level. So yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm glad I've had this awakening. I'm glad that I've been able to see and experience what I've experienced. And, if they keep sharing my number with people for them to send me messages, and then I should just keep blocking them. And I don't want to get the police involved because I'm not going to be here much longer. It's not really worth the hassle. But then is it worth the hassle? Because again, I'm into social justice and stopping the bullies. And there's a lot of bullying going on in that space. Yeah. It's interesting. But then the journey of growth always is. I love where I am, but the flies and the mosquitoes and the ants, I don't like them. I really don't like them. So that's my share for today. It is what it is. And I'm grateful that I've got present to what I got present to. And I'm grateful for the birthday cake that I couldn't eat. I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for my journey. And I'm grateful that I was able to spot what I was able to spot. And I know that had I not have been through some of the things I'd been through in my life, if I hadn't been through them, I wouldn't have learned the lesson. So I'm grateful for everything. The good bits and the not so good bits. And what makes me laugh is one of the people involved is a lawyer. There's no disrespect to lawyers, but my experience with lawyers and prosecutors, if you haven't read Crossing the Line, you might want to read it. And if you want to get some idea of what I'm talking about, a deeper idea of what I'm talking about, then you can go read Friday, Bridge and Wallahi. They are going to be on re-release very soon. But very interesting that I've experienced all of this whilst I bring these edits to a close. And there is no way that I would have made this video a few years ago with all this emotion, without makeup. But I'm me, I'm Dawn, and I'm a human being like everybody else. And when people share these insights into who they think I am, it gives me an opportunity to go, is this who I am? And if I choose that it's not, then I get to look at why did that person experience me in that way. Not so that I can dwell on it, but just so that I can become aware of it. Is it a cultural thing? Is it a gender thing? Is it a linguistic problem thing? Because it might, like I said at the beginning, I'm putting a lot of it down to misunderstandings due to my lack of Portuguese and their lack of English. There's also the energetic language involvement. There is the consciousness misunderstandings. And this is not to say that I think I'm better than them. Not at all. And I wish them lots of love because they are really lovely people on a certain level. And when you're a seer, as I am, and you see auras and you see certain things and energy, it can be painful to be around certain people, which is one of the reasons why I spend a lot of time by myself. I feel pain that's not mine. And I'm learning to deal with that. I'm learning to protect myself from that. And yeah. Anyway, that's enough of my ramblings for today. I'm going to go for a swim. And then I'm going to carry on with the edits that Kelsey has sent me. People think I'm a slave driver. You should have Kelsey as your editor. Those who work with me will do. But yeah, she's a good one. Well done, Linda. Linda found her. Linda and I make a great team. And not just because we love avocados. Anyway, my lovelies, much love. Enjoy the journey, or in the words of Mortiva, enjoy the ride. And if there's a certain someone watching this, that might be the way I wrap things up from here on in. But he doesn't watch my stuff. Probably not. Much love. Ciao, ciao.